Hi, welcome to the next 4-week face yoga block. Thank you so much for taking part. I know I've got some new faces taking part and I've got some regulars, so thank you to all of you. What we'll do is every Monday you'll get a recording sent, and that recording will be accessible for the full week. Every Monday you'll get a new recording. It's okay, so for 4 consecutive weeks you'll have access to face yoga, so in total 28 days. Don't feel like you have to do the full video every single day. Okay, so you could even just take out little exercises that you feel that you have time for and that feels good for you. So even trying to do the full class maybe 2 or 3 times a week would be really beneficial, and then the other days just incorporating little exercises into your skincare routine, whether it be in the morning or at night, just whenever you can fit it in. You can actually do face yoga in the car. You can just do it sitting watching the TV. You can do it anywhere. Okay, so it doesn't really need to have a specific place or a specific time. Anyway, we'll get started. So today is going to be an all-over face yoga routine, just to touch on each area that we will be working on throughout the course. Now, what I will say is just making sure that you've got a nice oil that's suitable for your skin. It's really important. All our skin is completely different, and we have different reactions to things, so just making sure that it's gentle and that you are able to have your hands glide over your skin throughout your practice. Okay, hands or gua sha. So we'll start off with some neck rolls, just warming up the neck, warming up the shoulders. So closing down the eyes, we're going to drop our chin to our chest, and as we inhale, we're going to roll our chin up to our right shoulder. Exhale, bringing the chin back to the chest, and inhaling up to the left. Exhaling, the chin comes back to centre, and inhaling up to the right. This time take full neck rolls. So these can be big or small. And we'll go in the opposite direction. And bringing your head back to centre. So we'll take our right ear to our right shoulder, just making sure your shoulder's pulled away from the ear. And take your right hand, place it on your left ear, and just have a little bit of weight on the head here. And release. Okay, we'll do the same on the opposite side, so left ear to left shoulder, taking the left hand and placing it on the right ear. And release. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to take our arms up overhead, interlace your fingers, turn your palms to face the ceiling and push the palms towards the ceiling to elongate that spine. And exhale, bring your hands back down. Great. Okay, so we'll start off just popping a few drops of your oil onto your hands. Now again, 2 or 3 drops is fine just initially. And then just warm the oil up in your hands. And just gently placing it over the face, the forehead, down the nose, and the neck. And if you can put any extra on your knuckles, that would be great, because we're doing some facial massage first. Okay, so take your hands into fists. We're going to roll our knuckles halfway up the jawbone and then push up to just right under the cheekbone. Okay, so on both sides, push right under the cheekbone. Have a little gap in between your teeth and take your fist round in circles. Now this could feel quite uncomfortable for some, especially if you grind your teeth at night. So really pushing up and taking your hands round in circles. And release. We'll take our knuckles right up to the very back of the jawbone now, and pushing up to the cheekbone and round in circles again. So with the knuckles, you really want to push them under that cheekbone. And just remember to have a little gap in between your teeth. And relax. Excellent. Okay. So we're going to take our 2 fingers into V's. We're going to have 1 finger above the ear in front of the ear and one finger behind the ear on both sides. We're going to massage round the front and the back of the ears. And just remembering to be nice and gentle here. Okay, and then taking your 4 fingers on each hand and gliding down the sides of the neck into the collarbone. So this is us just activating the lymphatic vessels that run right down the sides of the neck. So anything that we're moving from the face, we're draining through the lymphatics and then into the body. Okay, and relax. Okay, so we're going to take our right elbow up to the ceiling, having our pointer finger and middle finger facing downwards, and then just align the other hand, tilting your head slightly to the left. We're going to run our fingers up our cheeks, and once you've got the hang of this movement, we'll go a little bit quicker. Okay, and then work across the chin. And now take the left elbow up to the ceiling, and again do the same on the opposite side. Across the forehead. And then just giving the nose a little rub. Just round the nose, just to get the oxygenated blood to the surface. Great. Okay, so we're going to take our 2 fingers on each hand and just place them at the side of the temples. You can put a little bit of pressure here whilst you go round in circles, closing down the eyes. Really taking your practice inwards. And relax. We'll take our middle finger and pointer finger on our right hand and place them right in the centre of your eyebrows. Push in slightly and then push up and then go round in circles again. And relax. Great. Okay, so we're going to take our gua sha. Now, if you have one of mine, you'll see the teeth on the side of the gua sha. We're going to use this first. If you have one of the love heart gua shas and you see a flat side, you can use this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to run right up the forehead, so from just about the top of the eyebrow right up to the hairline, okay, and run it right across the head. If you've got the flat part, just push it upwards. Okay, with a good bit of pressure here. Pushing it upwards. Okay, so again, if you've got the teeth, just making sure you're going from the top of the eyebrow right up to the hairline. And you'll see my head starting to go a little bit red. That's just the oxygenated blood coming to the surface. Okay, right up to the hairline. Okay, and relax. So again, we're going to be using the tooth part of the gua sha, but again, if you've got the flat part of the love heart gua shas, just run right up the centre of your forehead. With the teeth, we're going to, as though we're erasing the lines in the middle of our head. Okay, and then we're going to take that round the sides of the eyes. Okay, but a little bit more gentle because the eyes are a little bit more delicate. And again, if you're going the flat side, just pushing it upwards. Okay. So this technique just really makes the lines on the forehead and between the eyebrows and round the sides of the eyes, the lines that we develop there just look a little bit more subtle with these moves and with these techniques with the gua sha. Excellent. Okay, and just pop your gua sha down for a second. Okay, so we're going to roll our shoulders up to our ears and draw them back and do a few more shoulder rolls. And if you need to readjust your posture, you even take your hands up overhead and let your fingers elongate the spine again. Because if you're anything like me, I tend to start slouching because I get really comfortable and relaxed. So yeah, just readjusting makes the big difference here. Okay, so again, we'll actually pop the gua sha down for a second. We're going to use our 2 pointer fingers And we're going to go round the eye sockets. So we're tapping round the eye sockets, encouraging the blood flow. This is also really good for dark circles or puffiness round the eyes. Okay, and take the your fingers round in the opposite direction. And relax. Okay, so we're going to take a big inhale through the nose and sigh it out the mouth. Inhale through the nose and sigh it out the mouth. And we'll go once more, in through the nose and sigh it out the mouth. Excellent. So we're going to work on our eyebrows. So if you can just take your pincher fingers, your thumb and your pointer finger, and just feel round that eyebrow muscle, okay? So you should be able to grip onto it. Feel it right to the very end. What we want to do is taking the pointed part of our gua sha, okay? If you've got the love heart, that's fine. You can also use your knuckles. So just making sure you've got a little bit of oil. It doesn't need to be too much, just enough so that you're not dragging the skin. I'll show you with the gua sha first. So with the pointed part of the gua sha, we are hooking that under that muscle. So as you can see, I'm moving that muscle up, right? So I want to be right under that muscle. I'm taking it round in slow circles, pushing that muscle up as I move along the eyebrow. Okay, and I'm taking it right to the very end. Okay, you can continue doing that just now whilst I'm demonstrating, but always go back to the start and then round, pushing the eyebrow up. If you're using your knuckle, okay, and this is what I mean, you can do face yoga anywhere. Sometimes if I'm at traffic lights, if you ever pass me and I'm doing weird stuff with my face, it's usually face yoga. So taking your knuckle, again, hooking it under that muscle and taking your knuckle round in circles, pushing that muscle up. Okay? And right to the very end. So we're pushing up. And as you can see, I'm right under that muscle and I'm pushing it up. Okay, so just continue moving from the beginning right over to the end of the eyebrow. Once you've got the hang of it, you can close down your eyes as well. Because this practice is about you. It's about giving yourself the self-care, deep relaxation. Excellent. Okay, so take the long flat part of the gua sha now, and if you have got the love heart, you'll have a flat part on there. Just have it straight to your forehead, so it is really quite flat to the head here. We're going to pull that muscle, on the same eyebrow that you were working there, pull it right up to the hairline. And you can put a little bit of pressure on this. So really working right across the muscle, pulling it right up as though you're pulling it up to the hairline. Okay, so this is us just holding that muscle under tension, and this is what gives us the natural eyebrow lift. Gives us space on the lid in between the eye and the eyebrow. So this movement's really good if you've got hooded eyes as well. Okay, and just relax. So you might notice that one eyebrow is slightly higher than the other. And what we'll do is, I've already done mine today, so I don't really know if mine's can get much higher, but we'll try on the opposite side just to balance both eyebrows out, okay? So again, if you're using the gua sha, getting right under that muscle and pushing it up to the hairline. And if you're using your knuckle, again, it's a similar technique. Just trying to push that muscle up as far as it can go. Excellent. Okay, and again we'll use the flat part of the gua sha, having it flat to the head and pulling right up to the hairline. Okay, and relax. So just making sure that both eyebrows are even before we move on. You can always pause these videos and play them again, just at your own pace as well. Okay, so we'll just move to the under eye area. We have a short flat part of the gua sha. Again, on the love heart, you will still have a flat part, so you can use that. And just pop it right under the eye. Okay, and just let the gua sha glide right up to the temple and then back to the start. Right up to the temple and back to the start. And just remembering that each movement, just try and take it a little bit slower. Okay, so although it might be a rush in the morning just to make sure you fit it in, or a rush at night just because you're absolutely knackered when you come in from work, or once you've done all the household tasks that we do, but it is best to practice at a slower pace. And we'll go the opposite side, taking it right up to the temple. Excellent, and relax. Okay, so we're going to move on to our cheeks. We're going to use the love heart part of the gua sha, so you'll have that with the love heart shaped ones as well. Okay, so we'll take our right elbow up to the ceiling, tilt your head slightly to the left, and let the gua sha glide up the cheekbone, and then once you get to almost the hairline area, we'll take it right up to the temple. So glide right across and then up. Just remember to fully inhale and fully exhale throughout your practice as well. Excellent. And we'll move over to the opposite side. So just gently tilting your head to the right this time, taking your left elbow up and gliding up the cheekbone. And relax. Excellent. So this is one of the kind of funnier poses that we're going to be doing. Okay, so we're going to take our mouth into an O shape. So really tucking our lips right into our teeth, okay? And you're going to have your eyes facing straight forward. And see if you can pulse smile 10 times, okay? So the idea is that your lips remain as tight as possible around the teeth, and you try and smile. Your cheeks should ever so slightly move. This just gives them that little natural cheek plump, okay, and helps lift that muscle. Because we do have over 50 muscles in the neck, tongue and face, and before I started face yoga I never knew this. And quite frankly, I'd go to the gym, I'd work out from the neck down, and you wonder why your face starts going south. So this is just to teach your facial muscles to stay up, okay? So let's take our lips round as tight as they will go, and just remember, nobody can see you apart from you. And pulse smile 10 times. and then relax. Okay, and we'll go in again. And relax. It is quite hard to get the hang of that one, so if it takes a few tries, don't worry. And we'll go in again for the third round. And relax. Great. Okay, so we're going to take the long flat part of the gua sha and have the love heart part facing upwards on this one. It doesn't really matter whereabouts, as long as there's nothing sitting on your cheekbone here. We want it under the cheekbone, okay? So whatever part of the gua sha you're using, just use the flat part to go up the cheek, and just make sure no part of the gua sha is actually on the bone, the cheekbone, okay? So start off round about the mouth area. So just at the very side of the mouth, taking the right elbow up to the ceiling, tilting your head slightly, and we can put a good little bit of pressure here, really moving up the cheek, again making sure you're under the cheekbone, putting a little bit of pressure here, moving up towards the opening of the ear, and then we give it a wee wiggle. Okay, we'll go back to the start and give it a wiggle. Go again, and just keep going with this movement. You might be able to feel some fluids moving about the cheek here. This just helps eliminate toxins and waste that we hold in the cheek area, but it also helps eliminate unwanted fluids. So this is ultimately what we're doing. We're moving the fluids, we're moving all the toxins and waste over to almost the ear area. We're giving it a wiggle so that when we start draining the lymphatics, it goes down, and then we move it across to be disposed of into the body. Okay, let's just continue with this movement. Excellent. Okay, and then we'll move over to the opposite side. So taking your left elbow up, tilting your head slightly to the right, starting off at the very edge of the lip, and moving the gua sha up with a good little bit of pressure here, and then wiggling at the ear. And relax. Excellent, so just pop your gua sha down for a second, and if you need to put a little bit more oil on, please do. Just again, 2 or 3 drops is fine. Again, and then heat it up in your hands. Okay, and just place it. So you can put a little bit over your lips as well this time. Side of the nose, under the chin, and on your knuckles. Great. Okay, so take your 2 pointer fingers and have your nails facing outwards. Okay, we're going to pop our fingers at the side of our nose, so this just helps with the lines, the folds that we start to get at the side of the nose. It helps stretch these out. So we're going to pull our hands down, turn our nails so they're facing the floor, and then we pull out just to the start of the cheekbone. So down and out, down, out, and do a few more of these. And relax. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to pick up our gua sha again. We're going to use the tooth part of the gua sha again, but if you have the love heart, just use the straight side, okay? The long flat part. So with this gua sha with the teeth, we're taking it right in at the nasal area and then working right down the laughter lines. Just like we did in the middle of the forehead, middle of the eyebrows, the forehead, the sides of the eyes. And if you've got a flat part of the gua sha, we are just massaging out. So moving right down the laughter lines here. You can also use your knuckle for this, so taking it around in circles. Okay, so whatever you choose. And then go to the opposite side. Again, you can pause this because I know I'm doing 2 different variations, so you can pause this video until you've done like 4 or 5 strokes down. Okay, and relax. So this time I'm going to demonstrate the lip plump. So this also helps the lines that we develop at the top of the lips from time to time. If you're a smoker, you'll maybe have more lines at the top lip as well. So this is really, really good to kind of smooth these out. Okay, so we're going to take our 2 fingers into pinchers. We're going to grab right behind the muscles in the lips. So we've got 4 muscles on the lips, 1 at either side. So we're going to take our fingers right behind that muscle, and then we glide our fingers right across with a little flick at the end, okay? So and relax. Excellent. So again, taking the long flat part of your gua sha, we're just going to go right over the lips, massaging back and forth, okay? And relax. So just keep a hold of our gua sha. We're going to take the love heart part, okay, and just pop it right in the centre of your chin. Okay, taking your left hand, make a little anchor so that you're making a little bit of resistance here, okay? So just pulling towards the left, taking the gua sha and breaking down some of the little pockets that we develop at the very tip of the chin and a little bit up the jawbone, okay? So just starting off at the very top. So you might hear crunching, that's absolutely fine. And then just working up the jawbone. Okay, take your right elbow up to the ceiling and then let the gua sha glide up the jawbone and wiggle at the ear. So you only break down those pockets once, and that's at the very start of this technique. And then from there it's just to glide up the jawbone and wiggling at the ear. Excellent. We'll go the opposite side. So again, pop it right in the centre of your chin, make a little anchor with your right hand this time, and then break down some of those little pockets. Okay, and then taking the left elbow up to the ceiling, letting the gua sha glide up the jawbone and wiggling at the ear. Again, just remember to inhale and exhale fully. So filling up your chest, filling up the belly, and then fully exhaling. Excellent. So just pop your gua sha down for a second. Okay, so we're going to do some exercises for under the chin area. Okay, so taking your 2 hands, glide them down the neck, find a little bit of resistance at the collarbone, tilt your chin up to the ceiling, so you should feel that stretch right up the front, and pop out your bottom lip. And we hold that for a count of 10. Bringing your chin back to your chest, taking a full big inhale and exhale. Inhale, lifting your chin back up, taking your hands down the neck, finding that resistance point and popping out your bottom lip. We'll stay here for a count of 10. This is our giraffe pose. Exhale and bringing your chin back to your chest, taking a full breath. Inhale, lifting the chin back up, bringing your hands down the neck, finding that resistance point and popping out the bottom lip. Exhale, bring the chin back to the chest. And inhale, bringing your head back to centre. Okay, so we're going to just make sure you've got another little bit of oil on your knuckles because we're going to run up the front of the neck now. Okay, so we're going to take our hands into fists and we're going to just run right up the neck, up to the jawbone. So tilting your chin up to the ceiling whilst you do this. Right up the sides of the neck, up to the jawbone. And relax. Great. So we're going to take our head now round to the right. Okay, so having your chin in alignment with your shoulder. We're going to stick out our tongue as far as it'll go and try and touch your nose. Now you should feel that in your tongue, but you should also feel it under your neck as well. So we want to hold that for 10 seconds. Okay, bringing your tongue back in and bringing your head back to centre. We'll take our head round to the left now. Stick your tongue out as far as it will go and try and touch your nose. So you should really feel up the right hand side of your neck as well. This just helps the whole under the chin area, just helps tighten that up. And bring your tongue back in and bring your head back to centre. Great. Okay, so we're going to do one more exercise for under the chin. So we're taking our hands down our neck, find that resistance point, tilting your chin up to the ceiling, and we're going to blow 10 kisses. Bring your head back to centre. Inhale, lift your chin up to the ceiling, and again, blow 10 kisses. Bring your head back to centre. And again, going for our final round. Bring your chin up to the ceiling and blow 10 kisses. Bring your head back to centre. Great. Okay, so we're going to take the long flat part of the gua sha. And we're just going to glide over whatever side of the face, the forehead. We're going to move right all over the face. So over your forehead, over the eyebrow, taking everything over to the temple. Okay, under the eye, up to the temple. Across the cheek, over to the ear area. Excellent, and we'll go the opposite side. It's just allowing the gua sha to glide across all the muscles in the face, under the eyes, right up to the temple, across the cheekbone, over to the ear, okay, and relax. So we've got two curved parts of the gua sha here, but again, if you have the love heart, you can use the flat part as well. Okay, so we're just gliding right behind the ear down into the collarbone and giving it a wiggle. If you've got the two part of the gua sha, the two curved part, we're just hooking it behind the ear and running down the sides of the neck and massaging into the collarbone. And we'll go the opposite side. Excellent. Okay, so we're just going to take our two fingers into V's and run our fingers across our collarbone, top of the collarbone and below the collarbone. Moving over to the opposite side. Okay, and then taking the long flat part of the gua sha. If you've got access to your chest, put the gua sha on the skin. Just moving everything over to almost the underarm area. Okay, and the opposite side. Okay, and then taking your right hand and just massaging gently the beginning of the underarm. And we'll go the opposite side. Okay, and relax. So we'll take a big inhale through the nose and exhale out the mouth. We'll inhale our arms up overhead. Meet your hands in an Anjali mudra and bring it down to our forehead. Take a nice bow to yourself for providing yourself with 35 minutes of self-care today. Okay, so thank you so much for completing your first face yoga class of this block, and I'm looking forward to see how you're getting on. And please feel free to drop me any messages if you have any questions. I'd be more than happy to answer them. But if you are all good, I will see you again at the same time next week.